All right, everyone, welcome. So this stream is a quick stream that I'm going to do. I'm just doing some housework. Got loads of laundry, washing and drying right now, and I figured I'd use this opportunity to... All right, everyone. Okay, good. Knock something off my list I've been wanting to do. So I've got a project that I call Project Nerd. And right now, the big one in Project Nerd is what I call the Autobox. Now, the Autobox is a virtual machine that has a couple of things. One, it's got Containerlab, so you can build topologies using containerized network operating systems. It's got something called VS Code, Code Server, which is VS Code running as a web app. So this is what it looks like. So if we just go to web interface, if I can remember what that password is. All right, there we go. So if you're familiar with VS Code, it's probably the most popular IDE, integrated development environment for network automation. And you can run it on your desktop like Windows, Mac, Linux. But what I find is very useful is to run it on top of whatever your automation system is. So in this case, the Autobox says install Alma Linux. And there's a script that installs a bunch of other components, and then you install containerized EOS, and then you build a topology, and you can run a leaf spine topology. You can practice automation with Ansible, with whatever, which is really good. You can run whatever distro you want, but I chose Alma Linux for a particular reason, and that was that most enterprises in North America, if they're going to pay for Linux, they typically pay for Red Hat. And we used to have CentOS Linux, but Red Hat discontinued that in favor of something called CentOS Stream, which is I don't really like. So I've been using one of the rebuilders, which is either Rocky or Alma. Those are the two big ones, or Oracle, but I won't touch Oracle with a 40-meter pole. So instead, we're going to use I use Alma Linux. I really like Alma Linux. For 99% of the use cases, Alma Linux is the same as Red Hat Enterprise Linux, especially since we don't do anything in the kernel. We just go right to we just deal with user space. In network automation, we generally are just an application running on top of Linux, and it really doesn't matter what Linux we run, but it does help to keep down the number of permutations. So if you're running Red Hat Enterprise Linux, you can treat Alma Linux just like Red Hat Enterprise Linux. In terms of where the file configuration files are, installers, repositories, etc. But another popular Linux is Ubuntu or Debian. Now, I don't like to use Debian because it's a little bit too old in terms of it is the different software packages on it are a little bit too old, especially Python. So one of the problems we ran into with Alma Linux and Enterprise Linux in general. So when I say Enterprise Linux, I mean Rocky, Alma, Red Hat, Enterprise Linux. Enterprise Linux is meant to last for 10 years. So they tend to be very conservative on the versions of software that they do. So for example, Enterprise Linux 9, so RHEL 9, Alma 9, Rocky 9, uses Python 3.9. That's their system Python. So there's a bunch of scripts and stuff on the system that requires that Python version be installed. And Ansible, the later versions of it and some of the packages and modules and roles require a more updated version of Python, which is kind of a problem. It was an issue. So one of the things to fix that was Alma or Enterprise Linux 10 just came out. So Red Hat Enterprise Linux 10 came out, and then Rocky and Alma came out with their versions more recently. And I updated the instructions to do Alma 10. yeah, Alma 10, and that fixes the problem because it uses Python 3.12, which is a very recent version of it, but it's going to continue to get older. Ubuntu releases every 2 years, so typically the releases are going to be more up to date in terms of which version of Python is going to be installed. And for network automation, that's really what we care about for the most part. We want up-to-date repositories to download and install stuff, but we want an updated version of Python. There's ways around that. You can install multiple versions of Python. You can do Python environments, etc. But I try to keep things simple and just use the system Python when I can. Tea. Drinking passion fruit. Tazo tea passion fruit. So what we're going to do now is we're going to install, I'm going to update some instructions for, to do Ubuntu 24.04, which is the most recent version. So I'm going to open up a folder. And so I'm going to create a new README. Well, let me just sync up, make sure I'm all synced up. So I'm actually using a local version of VS Code just to do the editing of the text, and then it gets pushed up to here on the GitHub. So this is Ubuntu 24.04 Markdown. It's going to copy this. I'll rename this. There we go. Ubuntu 24.04. The other stuff should be pretty much the same. And network automation. Okay. So I need the installation instructions. So we need to go to Ubuntu. Is it ubuntu.org? Or ubuntu.com. Okay, so it's not ubuntu.org. I always forget. So we want products. We want Ubuntu server. We want to download Ubuntu server. We want 24.02. That's the long-term release. There's more updated versions. Like the 25.04 came out, I think, last month. And for our purposes, that would probably be fine, but let's go ahead and do this one. I do want to see if there's other images. See if there's like a minimal install. CD mirrors. Let's do United States. University of Arizona. Let's do that. So here's 2404.2. There's desktop, live server. That's pretty much that's it. Okay, we'll just go with that. So I'll put that in here. So let's download that. CLI cheat sheet. Oh, jeez, I don't want. Just download it. Man, I hate when they do that. Well, here's something useful, but give us your email address so we can spam you for the rest of your life. I think I've already got it. I think I've already got it installed, actually. So let's create a new VM. And this is going to be Autobox Ubuntu build. And do I have 24? Yep, I do actually. So I can just cancel this. And system, leave that there. Disks, 60 gigs. That's usually enough. And put it on the right volume. Do QCOW. 4 cores. 16 384 for memory. Put it on the right virtual machine. And oh yeah, I need to CPU. I don't know why it defaults to V2, but we don't want to do that anymore. We want host, which basically just passes in Proxmox. Excuse me. Host will just pass down all of the extensions, the CPU extensions, basically presenting the raw CPU for virtualization, versus these others will turn on or off certain processor extensions. But we don't need to do anything fancy like that. Okay, so that'll be that. We'll go ahead and start. Go to the console. Try or install. The installer's a lot different. It's text-based. Okay, so I'll just put some okay, we don't need it. We need yeah, we want Ubuntu server minimized. So probably should do some screenshots here. Okay. Just grabbed an IP address, no proxy address. Find some mirrors. Okay, done. Use entire disk. I'm not going to encrypt because it's just, we don't need to. You could encrypt if you wanted to. We'll let it carve it up. So your name, Tony Burke. User, your server's name, Ubuntu Autobox. Pick a username, Tony. Password. Yeah, I don't want Ubuntu Pro. You have to pay for that? Skip it for now. We do want to install OpenSSH server. We don't need any of these, I don't think, because we're going to install everything we need by ourselves. The only real option would be to we want Ubuntu server minimized, and just because it just doesn't install a bunch of stuff we don't need. We're pretty minimal on this install. More TASMR. Installing kernel. Configuring NVMe over TCP. Yeah, we don't need any of that. I've never really used NVMe over TCP or NVMe over a fabric. Why is it a 3 gig image and still got to download a bunch of stuff? Well, I guess it's updates. So in here, I'm going to put and select to server minimized for the type of installation. I should make a folder here, call it images, and then put this in here. That autocomplete there, that's very handy. I'm going to crop this and put in some I'm using this tool, Snagit. That's probably the best tool I've used for this type of purpose. There we go. Yeah, and then I think I can do size 200. Shrink it maybe. Scale. What are the image source scale? Width. Yeah, that'll work. Let's do 300. Yep, that's fine. Okay. All right, so then we reboot. All right, so we got an install or got a installation here. We do sudo apt update. I think that's what we want to do. Just make sure we get upgrade. Do we want to do update and upgrade? That's what we do in Enterprise Linux. Yeah, we want to do both. I think upgrade might actually do the first one, but okay, so we want to do both. I think. I'm trusting AI here, which is probably not the best idea, but having it run the command twice is not a big deal. Okay, we can go and buy a putty. Let's make this bigger. Actually, probably better would be just let's go ahead and install VS. No, we can't. Because we need Argon to generate the password. There we go. So we want, do I want to have them? Yeah, I probably want an install script because I did that here. Oh yeah, I already kind of made one. But I want to install all these things too. So we want to install Python 3 pip and Ansible components. So that would be apt install Python 3 pip. So let's see if we can do that. Okay. Is there install -y?
Okay, I found this on the web for install-y. Check it out.
Didn't ask you. Okay. Let's try app-y install vim. Okay, good. So -y works the same, which is what we want. So Pickles Price says rip Cumulus VX. Yeah, they're. I think they're still using Cumulus in the NVIDIA world for their AI fabric, but they're not really selling it as a data center generic fabric anymore. I mean, I think you can still buy it as that, but it's really not. I don't think it's a good idea to buy a product that it's an off. I would say it's off label now. So if you're using it as a generic data center fabric, it's off label. I mean, you can do it, but do I do this with a virtual environment? No. I try to stay away from virtual environments as much as I can, mostly because the VMs that I build, the instructions that I build are for people that are new to network administrators who are new to Linux and Python and automation. And virtual environments just add too much complexity, I think. If I can get away with not using a virtual environment, then I want to do that. And they can learn virtual environments later, but to get them started in this world, I try to keep them off of virtual environments if I can get away with it. And so far I have. So far, everything that I built, doesn't need it yet. So it may come to the day when my instructions. So the whole thing about Project Nerd, it's the network engineering resource for development, is to present simple instructions to network administrators who are probably not Linux admins or probably not super familiar with Linux, and get them the tools that they can just follow these instructions, spend 20 minutes doing the install, and then you'll get this environment. So I want to try to avoid virtual environments, virtual Python environments. Okay, so app-y install Python 3 pip, and then we'll see. Let's do pip3 install Ansible. Oh yeah, this thing is. This was a problem. So, I mean, this Ubuntu really wants you to use Python environments. Apt install Python 3. Break system packages. Yeah, doing a. That's fine. That's what we want. Core 2.18. Yeah, I have. Yeah, I've seen them break too, but this is a purpose-built VM, so we should be able to use it. It should be okay. There's enough of a separation between the modules that Ansible uses versus the modules that the operating system uses, and we don't really use that many tools in the operating system. If this were more generic production VM, that might be different. and I try to avoid. I don't want to install. I don't want to install Ansible from the Debian packages, from the Ubuntu packages, because it tends to be older. We want something newer. Although we might 22.19, I think, might break a whole bunch of stuff. They're doing, I can't remember what they call it, but there's something coming that's handles variables a lot differently, and it might break just everything, which is going to be fun. Let's see what else. So Ansible lint. So another way to do this. I just don't want to do Python virtual environments. They're so annoying. Yeah. So way to disable this. So copy and paste into. Way to turn that off. Let's see if this will work. What's another one? Let's see, Ansible. Okay, we're done. All right, so do I need to install anything else? Ansible lint. Let's try Argon. Yeah, there we go. Didn't really need to install it, but I do need to install, so this will be, I need to make directory.config, make directory.config pip. And then echo Ansible core and collections, yeah. I gotta fix the path problem too. If I run bash again. Nope, it's in bin Ansible. Gotta put that in path somehow. Where is it on my other systems? Oh, it's there. I didn't realize that. So the whole purpose of this is to building a set of instructions or scripts that just does the work for the network administrator. Because again, they're usually not Linux admins. So I've already got the instructions for Alma Linux 10. I was on Alma Linux 9. I moved to Alma Linux 10. And now I'm moving towards doing this for Ubuntu, because that's the other popular distro used for network administration or network automation. So I'm just trying to make a similar set of instructions with as few components as possible. What is my path? What's my path in here? Much more simple. What am I doing? Bash? Yeah, I'm Bash. There's no path in here. Oh, path here. Should be in there then. Source. Profile. Okay. So if I log in again, wrong one. Yeah. All right. So it's in there. Okay. What version am I targeting? Right now, I just target the latest one, but it's the problem is, well, the potential problem is when they finally upgrade. When they finally upgrade to, I think, .19, then a bunch of stuff might break. I don't know if it's going to break or not. So I got to do. There's going to be a lot of work when that comes out. I can't remember what to call it. There's some feature it's a weird name. Preparing your playbooks for Core 2.19. Data tagging and testing. So there was not any explanation of what data tagging is, and I even made a post. I said I looked through the documentation and links. This is me, by the way, Shadeland. I'm still as clear to what data tagging is. I don't think I've come across a doc that has examples and explanation unless it admits something. And some people were just pointed to the same link. And if you look at the link, it doesn't really tell you what it is. It just tells you it might break stuff. I use the full version. I don't know if Core is enough. So I just used the full version. The bigger version. I think I tried Core and I ran into some trouble. I had to install a bunch of extra stuff, so I just used the regular version. Okay, so I need to echo that. How do I do a multi-line paste? Let's see. Echo multi-line string bash. All right, echo dash E. Think that'll work. All right, we don't need EPEL release. I do need Argon. Argon builds hashes. So it'll be sudo apt -y install Argon 2. Git, we definitely need Git. So we did a minimal install, it's not going to be in there. This is handy, I don't need to do much. All right, OpenSSL is already installed. And we do need Vim. Then we need the code server, which this is my favorite part. Well, not my favorite part, but Pickle, do you use code server? Let's see here. Should be -y. So if I did this, I should be able to go to the host on port 8080. Yep, there we are. With my password. Okay, cool, that worked. So I love, yeah, this works out really nice. Yeah, I really like it because it's, most of the work I do now is going to be editing playbooks, YAML files, data models in YAML, Python scripts, etc. And it helps to have the editor work on the same system. Themes here, color theme. There we go. So it just helps to have integrated IDE. So now this is running on the Linux system that I just built. And we can see here. And I've got a terminal window I can use. So it's Ubuntu. And for the rest of it, I just do everything from here. So if I for example, if I write a Python script, rather than editing it in VI, like test.py, I can just go and create a new file or edit an existing file, that kind of thing. So the editor's right here, and then if I edit it in the integrated development environment, then I can run the So yeah, let's do test.py. I do want to make sure that I do autosave. It's already on. So I can do Python 3 test py. So I can run the Python script on the command line, and I can do it here. So this is, I mean, there's more than one way to do this. I could have done like an SSH tunnel from my local instance of VS Code, but I like this because it's an all-in-one solution, and I don't have to set up VS Code on my laptop and on my desktop and any other system I'm using. I've got one place to go to, and I've got my linters, I've got my editor, my VS Code, all that stuff. So yeah, it's really, really cool. I like it quite a bit. All right, so so the script here. I think I can just run the script now. This should be a script enough to get everything working. All right, I'm gonna do a fresh install, and I'm gonna run this script. So first, I'm gonna make sure it's saved, and then I'm going to. I didn't. Just go ahead and add this, and then commit it, and then sync it. Sync those changes. Okay, so now it should be on this up there. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna shut this down and just delete it. Yeah, delete, remove the VM. And just build from scratch, just to make sure that I got everything right. So I'm going to create VM, Ubuntu test autobox, load up Ubuntu 2404 live server, 60 gigs, 4 cores. Oh yeah, make sure this is host. Go ahead and boot that up. Oh yeah, I need to fix that. That is upgrade and update. So it'll be enable Ubuntu, and if we click on the raw, and that's the URL. So curl, I think that's installed by default. English, done. .195. Test the Proxmox plugin for Vagrant. No, I haven't. It's on my list to do, so I don't have to do these installs every time. The installs have been quick enough that it hasn't been really a thorn in my side because I don't install these that often. But yeah, I would like to have it so I can just one click and then I've got Ubuntu or whatever. Okay. I know you can do it. I just haven't sat down and played with it. There's a whole bunch of stuff on a list of like stuff I want to play with. Okay, so over here, yeah, so this is gone now. That's fine. Script is, yeah, curl this. Yeah, yeah, it's like that with automation. Once you get it automated, you never want to go back. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I definitely want to get to that point, but I just haven't gotten around to it. Are you a network administrator or a server administrator, or both? I guess I'm both. I started out my career as a Unix administrator back in the 90s. So SunOS and Solaris. I did most of my stuff on Solaris before Linux took over. Did some FreeBSD too. Didn't really have good experience with FreeBSD, although it wasn't really FreeBSD's fault. It was, I worked at a company where we were using FreeBSD servers, but they were Java-based apps, so they're doing Java runtime. And this is the early 2000s, and they were really insistent about FreeBSD. I didn't really care. At the time, the tooling was pretty much the same. The tooling for Linux is way better now than it is for FreeBSD for the most part. But back then they were kind of the same. But the problem is there was not either Oracle or I guess Sun back then. Yeah, this is before the Oracle purchase. So Sun and IBM, who the only ones making binaries for the Java runtime environment, they either didn't have a FreeBSD build or they had a really old one, and we were running into problems. And so I'm like, well, let's just try the Linux version, and it worked great. And they're like, well, let's do Linux emulation on FreeBSD. I'm like, nope, we're not doing that. We're like, I don't really care, but the binary works on Linux. We're going to run it natively. We're not going to deal with any like Linux emulation crap or anything like that. So they got kind of mad, but eventually they agreed. And because they were like, oh, FreeBSD is better. I'm like, I don't care. OS 220 mainframes, yeah. I did a little bit of mainframe when I worked at a college. We had a VMS system and a VAX and an AS400. Okay, let's see if this works out. So reboot now. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's pre-Unix, but Unix got a lot more popular in the 80s, 90s. But it's been around since the 60s, I think, late 60s. Okay, so it's 195. All right, so let's try this right here. See, see if this will work as a one-stop. Oh wait, I want to do the updates. So, oh yeah, I need to put sudo in front of everything. Sudo make me a sandwich. Yeah, I didn't do a -y. I'll put I'll show you the actual GitHub repo that I'm working with here. To put that in the chat, and I'll put, yeah. Okay, so is that the old one? Yeah, that's the old one. All right, so now I can just see if I can run this script and it does the rest. Code server. Good so far. Could not find. Yeah, so it checks for code server config. It's there. All right, blew past the password too. Should I have run this as bash? Yeah, that's the problem. I ran it as a shell script instead of a bash script. All right, so with that, yeah, I think that's what it was. So 195, if I go to 195, see if it works with the password. There we go. All right, cool. All right, so that's enough for now, I think. So I can I'll go ahead and fixed install script. All right. Oh, thank you. That's very nice. I'm glad you enjoy it. I'm going to go ahead and stop now. I've got to finish up the stuff I need to get done before I start my Saturday evening. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you on the next one.